When people talk about Jewish success in America, certain images immediately come to mind. Universities, doctors' offices, law firms, film studios and laboratories. It seems as though this story must have one simple secret. That is where the first mistake begins. When the fate of an entire people is explained through a single, supposedly inborn characteristic, history disappears. In its place, a myth emerges, and sometimes a dangerous one. Why do Jewish Americans, on average, have high levels of education, income, and professional representation? What happened between the cramped apartments of immigrants and the college degrees earned by their children? And why can the answer not be reduced to money, connections, or some special Jewish intelligence? The first explanation says that Jews arrived in America already wealthy. For a large part of the Eastern European immigration, that is simply untrue. Between 1881 and 1924, more than 2.5 million Jews arrived in the United States from Eastern Europe. They were driven out by persecution, limited economic opportunities, pogroms, and poverty. Most settled in cities and entered the working class. The Lower East Side was not a neighborhood of easy wealth. It was a world of overcrowded tenements, workshops operating inside living rooms, pushcart vendors, and exhausting working days. More than half of Eastern European Jewish immigrants performed manual labor, especially in the garment industry. On March 25, 1911, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire claimed 146 lives. Many of the victims were young Jewish and Italian women. That disaster revealed the true cost of immigrant poverty. The story of Jewish success in America does not begin with wealth. It begins with poverty and with the struggle to escape it. The second explanation says that everything was decided by connections. Yes, community networks mattered. Relatives met new arrivals. Hometown associations helped people find rooms. Synagogues supported the sick. Yiddish newspapers explained how the country worked. Educational organizations taught English. But calling this a secret system of influence means replacing the history of immigration with conspiracy theory. A person who does not understand the language, the laws, or the labor market will almost always seek help from those who arrived earlier. Many immigrant communities in America did exactly the same thing. These connections were not a conspiracy. They were a way to survive in an unfamiliar city. The third explanation sounds more sympathetic. America immediately opened every door to the Jews. America did offer more opportunities than many societies of old Europe. A Jewish person could move to another city, open a business, and pursue an education. But opportunity did not mean complete acceptance. In the early 20th century, Jews could be excluded from clubs, hotels, and residential neighborhoods. Universities imposed restrictions. During the 1920s, Harvard's administration attempted to limit the growing number of Jewish students. Special reports classified applicants according to their presumed Jewish background. In 1921 and 1924, Congress sharply restricted immigration through national origins quotas. The flow of immigrants from Eastern Europe was almost completely cut off. Later, this system prevented many Jewish refugees from finding safety from Nazism. America was an opportunity, but it was not a door that opened without resistance. To understand what happened next, one must look at cities, professions, schools, community institutions, and the expanding American economy. The city could be brutal toward a poor immigrant, but it also offered movement. A factory, a market, a library, a public school, a labor union, and a college might all exist within the same urban world. In New York, it was sometimes possible to change professions within a single lifetime. For many Jewish families, success did not begin with dreams of becoming millionaires. It began with one simple goal. The children must not live the way their parents had lived. Parents might sell goods from a pushcart or sew clothing at home late into the night, while their child learned English more quickly and helped them read official letters. Through that child, the entire family entered American society. School became a way out. College and professional education provided a qualification that could be carried anywhere. Property can be lost, knowledge remains. For many American Jews, education became not a decoration of social status, but an instrument of security. We have reached the halfway point in this story. If you value calm historical analysis without myths or propaganda, support this video with a like and subscribe to the channel. And in the comments, tell us which country and city you are watching from. Now we can look at the result of this long journey. A Pew Research Center study conducted in 2023 and 2024 found that 65% of Jewish adults held a bachelor's degree or a more advanced qualification. Among American adults overall, the figure was 35%. This is not proof of inborn superiority. It is the accumulated result of generations that invested heavily in education. The second factor was the urban economy. Jewish immigrants were concentrated in crafts, trade, and garment manufacturing, fields that could be entered through family labor, limited capital, or a practical skill. Their children and grandchildren moved into medicine, law, education, publishing, science, and business. When elite doors remained closed, people searched for other entrances, an examination, a workshop, or a new industry. The same pattern could be seen in the early film industry. Jewish immigrants played a significant role among its entrepreneurs. But this was not control. It was participation in a young and risky industry that established elites initially considered unimportant. Discrimination does not create success by itself. It destroys lives. But in certain cases, it pushed Jews toward fields where skill, independence, and professional reputation mattered more than acceptance by a closed social club. The third factor was the strength of community institutions. The Library of Congress notes that Eastern European Jews built networks of cultural, spiritual, and social organizations. These organizations helped people find housing and employment, taught English, supported the sick, and defended workers. Research by economists Ran Abramitsky, Leah Bustan, and their colleagues examined an organization that helped Jewish families move away from New York's overcrowded immigrant neighborhoods. The organization assisted 39,000 households. 10 years later, participants earned approximately 4% more on average than comparable neighbors. Part of that effect remained visible among their children. This support did not make a person wealthy. It provided information, the opportunity to move, the chance to learn English, and the ability to survive a crisis. And now we can finally answer the central question. Jews in America did not become successful because there was one secret formula, nor was success guaranteed to every Jewish person. The real truth lies in a combination of factors. A large group of people arrived in America from a region where Jewish life often meant legal restrictions, economic confinement, and the threat of violence. They found themselves in cities where life was difficult, but changing professions was possible. They created systems of mutual assistance so that newcomers would not be left alone. They invested in education because a profession offered protection. They entered fields where advancement was possible through examinations, skill, discipline, entrepreneurship, and reputation. And all of this coincided with the expansion of the American economy, universities, medicine, science, and technology. The success of American Jews is not a mystery of blood or a mystery of money. It is a story of immigrant mobilization, urban opportunity, education, and a community memory shaped by the knowledge that security is never guaranteed. But the statement that all Jews are rich remains false. The Jewish community includes wealthy families, members of the middle class, elderly people living on limited incomes, young people burdened by debt, and families struggling to afford housing or medical treatment. According to the Pew Research Center, 26% of American Jews reported that during the previous year they had struggled with at least one basic expense: medical care, housing, food, bills, or debt. Among households earning less than $50,000 a year, the figure was 55%. An average statistic must not erase the people who do not fit the myth of universal Jewish wealth. Achievement cannot be explained through race. Mutual assistance cannot honestly be transformed into secret influence. Education should not be treated as a magical button that automatically creates prosperity. The success of famous individuals does not prove that anti-Semitism and poverty have disappeared. American Jews are not one uniform group. Ashkenazi, Sephardi, and Mizrahi Jews, immigrants from different countries, and religious and secular families all have different experiences, incomes, and opportunities. Two eras can grow out of discussions about Jewish success. The first is to see it as proof of inborn superiority. The second is to turn Jewish achievement into an accusation. Both eras strip real people of their history. What should be remembered? More than 2.5 million Eastern European Jews arrived in America during the era of mass migration, and many began their lives as workers. Opportunity existed alongside anti-Semitic barriers. Education became an instrument of social mobility. The community helped newcomers adapt. And a high average income never meant that every Jewish person was wealthy. The answer, therefore, should not sound like a legend. The urban economy provided work. Education provided a profession. The community provided support. Families passed down the expectation that children should rise higher. The memory of powerlessness served as a warning that an open door could always close again. And the American system created a space in which opportunity could sometimes be transformed into advancement. This is not a story of easy success. It is the story of people who arrived with no guarantee of victory, and who understood all too well the cost of a lost opportunity. And perhaps that is the central truth. Their success was not born from the belief that the world owed them something. It was born from the memory of how quickly the world could turn away.